They are serving at the moment in the first game of the match against, on the near side, Paul Alsina in the white top, Marc Monet in the blue. This is a repeat of the final from last week in Jakarta. Just the semi-final today, looking for a place in the final. Good shot from Marc Monet there. Paul Alsina, two-time winner on the APPT Tour. Marc Monet still looking for his first. Marc and Sergi on the far side, securing their first title last week, of course. You maybe just watched the previous semi-final, Danny Bracel and Joaquin Florenza with a convincing victory in the semis in straight set, 6-2, 6-2 over Jose Soto and Xavi Benito. So a place against the number one seeds, Danny and Joaquin, up for grabs in the final later this afternoon. A few power and connectivity issues, so if the stream drops out, we apologise for that. We'll try to get it back with you as soon as possible if that does happen. Game one continues. A big deep breath there from Paul, not happy at himself already in the first game. Joined once more in the commentary box by Matty Thomas. Hello, Matty.
Morning, David. How are we today after a late night finish last night?
I won't lie to you, Matty. I'm a tired boy.
And did you play last night as well?
I did. 1 a.m. we went on court. Finished at 2. A 6-1, 7-6 victory over a couple of lovely men from Singapore that were very grateful to them for waiting around. But yeah, good fun.
And was that your latest starting time or latest finish time you ever had on a paddle court?
It was indeed. It was indeed. And I'd be quite happy if I never repeated that, to be honest. So what about you? You ever played some midnight paddle?
Yeah, over in Spain. I think I finished about 12:30 to 1 o'clock. But I lost the match. It makes it all better if you play late night like you did, but also win the match. So it's a better feeling.
Indeed it is. Second game underway here. Marc and Sergi holding serve on the first game. That's a lovely shot down the middle. Paul couldn't scramble back and get that one. Marc and Sergi probably going to be, do you think they'll be quite keen to win this one as quickly as possible given the length of match they played yesterday and how tired their legs might be?
Yeah, well I think Paul and Marc had two relatively comfortable matches yesterday, both in about 50-55 minutes. Sergi and Marc had a real long battle last night, so this first sort of 10-15 minutes is really crucial. I think Paul and Marc will try and assert a lot of pressure at the start, just like this, and see how physically fit both Marc and Sergi are. I don't think they slept much last night either.
No, probably still in a pretty high adrenaline buzz. It would have been a while before their brains switched off after a 3.5 hour match.
Yeah. And also, as you mentioned, they played last week in very different conditions. Indoors, the ball bouncing very high off a different surface. This morning we had a lot of rain as well, so the ball's going to stay pretty low. I think this may benefit actually Paul the way he plays. A very skillful, plays a lot of spin and keeps the ball low, just like that volley there. So I think we'll see a very different match to what we saw last week in Jakarta.
And that's good. That's the game plan for Paul and Marc Monet right there, isn't it? Paul setting the play up, looking for that slightly short one, and Marc Monet's forehand is pretty lethal.
Yeah, well, we had the fortunate pleasure of playing both Marc and Paul yesterday. What I was really impressed with Paul's game management in the right corner, how well he moves, but Marc's ability to finish points like that on 1 or 2 shots. It made it really hard for us to defend against.
Got an interesting technique he has. It's like a bit of just a slap of the forehand, isn't it? It's not really sort of the precise forehand technique on volley coaching you might see. It's a bit looser and just wristy and yeah, so much power and I don't know, yeah.
Correct. He plays with quite a high swing on the forehand volley, and he played a few bahadas yesterday, myself and Ezekiel, my partner. It was really hard to return the ball, so the amount of speed he gets through that arm and that hand is phenomenal. Yeah.
We think that's juice. We think that was a break point saved. I don't know what happened there. Thought the serve was in, didn't see it hit the net, but there you go. What do we know? That's why we are sitting in here and not playing out there. Marc nicely across there, and the ball going out from Sergi Nogueras as he looked for the tight angle. Couldn't find it. And a game point now for Paul and Marc, saving a break point already in the game. Oof, nicely done, Sergi there. Paul's volley just a little bit high, a little bit uppish, giving Sergi the chance for a nice forehand volley attack past Paul, who was very close to the net and no reaction time possible. Just two. Marc puts his head in his hands after that volley. Marc that is, on the far side. Didn't get the smash quite as he would like. Marc had a chance, but he couldn't control the high backhand, and into the net it went. Here is that Bajada. Marc Bernils read it, but he couldn't control it, and that's the game. 1-1. A couple of long games to start. If that's a sign of things to come, strap yourself in for the next 3 hours or so. But
the match last night, I think was it 3.5 hours in the end?
Yeah.
Longest match I've seen.
Yes. I feel like I still remember every minute of it. So.
And longest match you've commentated on, and probably for a long time as well.
Yeah, I would think so. There was a couple of long ones in. I suppose last week's final was quite long, probably over the 2-hour mark. I remember back in Bali Social Club for one of the APPT events. I think it was the Saturday evening. There was a match between Xavi that we saw in the semi-final today, and his partner Javi versus Tim and Shungo. That was that also seemed to last for hours. That one, pretty epic 3-set encounter. But yeah, I think last night takes the title. Early frustration there from Marc Bernils. You see him giving the glass at the back of the court a bit of a slap, just checking it's solid after he lost that point. A little mistake.
I think he might be testing a bit later as well. He might be testing how firm the glass is a bit later as well. We might see that a few times from him today.
Always good to test. Just long on the serve from Sergi. A little moisture on his racket, I think, there. Not quite getting the grip and spin he would like. Big smash from Marc Bernils, and well recovered from Marc. We do see this often from Marc Bernils, don't we? He gets a tad frustrated, and it tends to be that he gets rid of those frustrations by unleashing it on the ball a little bit harder than he might on the next point.
Yeah, we know Paul's very composed on that right side. We had Sergi as well. Marc and Marc are definitely two of the power players that like to get involved more and play a little bit more aggressive. So we've got two different characters on each side here.
Lovely high ball, and into the net from Paul. I think he saw Marc Bernils come in and changed the shot selection because of that, but it went into the net. Five-3. Marc under that one does well, wonderfully down the middle there. 15-40. We saw Marc and Sergi defend so many break points yesterday when you thought the game was well and truly gone, and they managed to defend almost every single one, and they'll have to do it again against Marc and Paul. First break point underway here. Nicely into the feet of Marc. Great touch from Marc Bernils and a lovely lob there. Short this time as Paul comes back to the net. Marc Monet across to cover. Slaps that forehand volley again. Just lands in. Beautifully picked up. Oh, and it's a net cord. It just lands in. And that's beautiful from Paul Alsina. Loads and loads of spin on that little bandeja volley, sorry. And it just did not bounce off the back glass. Sergi looks at it, but that's the conditions. Same for everyone.
Yeah, one thing's really different actually. When Sergi and Marc played last night, when they lobbed Tim and Andrea, we noticed they came forward a lot off the smash. Yeah. What they're doing against Paul and Marc, I think they respect how much spin and spin they put on the ball in these conditions. They're staying back a lot more. So it's more attack against defence, and they're choosing when to transition like the last point. But I think we see a lot less of the movement off a lob like we saw last night, and more trying to defend from behind the line.
Wouldn't that be, just to quiz you, wouldn't that be a reason to go forward more so the spin doesn't have any impact? You're not letting the ball bounce, you're not letting the ball hit the glass.
Maybe, but I think where Paul and Marc are very good is when people come forward is hitting to space. So it might be, Paul might be to Gancha to the side corner, it might be down the middle. So I think where they're very good is exposing the space. Where Tim and Andrea are very good is using the volley, but maybe less on the differentiation on the overhead. Marc and Paul play that so well. So I think they're trying to play a little bit more patient and choose when to come in today, as opposed to attack early last night.
And they might just not have the legs for it as well, so.
Essentially.
Oh, great defence from Marc Bernils there. How he gets his racket underneath that. It's about a millimetre from the floor. And the racket's thicker than a millimetre, so the maths just doesn't add up. But he got the ball, he got the racket under the ball and got it back, and they win the point. Love 15. That's long. Sergi's lob's not up to his usual standard so far. Just finding his radar in the early games of the match. And already we're in much more of a battle than the first semi-final was. Good stretch from Sergi, not once but twice. Phenomenal reflexes. And that's nicely down the middle. Well done, Marc and Sergi. Interesting from Paul there. He got to the ball quite nicely using the back glass, but he just seemed to chip it. Didn't really give it a big whack.
I think when the ball's been so heavy as well on the surface, it's really hard to boast that ball high up the glass. One of the shots Marc did really well, one of the shots Marc did really well yesterday is on that back inside. He was able to roll that Chiquita down to Andrea's feet, and he did that really well to pull on that last point. That's when they try and come forward and win the net. So they're trying to win the net off that lower ball today, as opposed to the higher ball that they used yesterday.
Yeah, and another lob goes long from Sergi there, giving another point to Marc Monet and Paul. 30-all. Just long on the serve. Second serve coming now. Bit more pace in that return. Marc Monet across beautifully into the corner. Great defence from Sergi. Marc covers nicely. That looks like it's just landing in. Paul had to play it. And very nicely done from Marc Bernils there, focusing the attack down the middle, where the players might have thought he would have shifted it into the sides where the gaps were, catching them by surprise. And again, that reading of the game. I mean, his hand skills, his paddle skills are phenomenal, but his reading of the play might be even higher than that. So
yeah, I mean, there's a couple of parts of it. Some players react to situations. He's already moving before the play hits, so his sort of perception of what's going to happen during the point is phenomenal. In my opinion, probably one of the best here.
30-40 break point, break back point. He's across there, just landing in. Good spin, changing that forehand into a backhand from Sergi. And Marc Monet puts that smash into the net, and then he hits another one also into the net. So 2-2. Marc Bernils serving into Paul Alsina in the 5th game. Back level after a break for both teams. It's a little high. Paul can attack that one, and that's also popped up high for him. Down the middle, and Marc Monet into the net. Paul turns away, not happy. Slaps himself in the thigh. And a crucial point for Marc Bernils and Sergi. Oh! What a shot, that landed. Yeah. Landed in, dearie me. It looked as if the point was over. Marc Manet staying calm under pressure. Popped that. Oh my goodness me. Sergi can't believe it. Neither can I. Just two. And another break point now. Sergi puts that in the net. That's the break point saved. But there will be another golden point. Paul marching over to Marc Manet, having a little chat about what the plan is next. Big debate about who's going to take the golden point here. Paul, I think, has been signalled. Gets it back calmly. Marc nicely into the corner. And a good lob by Marc Manet, beautifully using the back glass. Oh, just gets it in, Marc Manet, and he's there to cover nicely. He'll take this high one. Into the corner this time, Marc Bernils does well. The big slap from Marc Manet once more. Good defence. He's taking another. And into the net from Sergi. And we have gone break, break, break in the first set. 3-2, Paul and Marc Manet lead. We will resume shortly.
I go to.
(3-5). Marc Bernils serving into Paul Alsina. Marc Manet almost rescued that on the spin, but into the net. 15-love. Long Marc Manet, couple of errors in this game. So far so smooth for the serving pair in this one. Oh, and Sergi Nogueras into the net. Paul looks as though he knows he got away with one there. It was a poor lob by his standards, and then a poor shot by Sergi's standards also. There nicely, and with a big gap on offer. It looked as though Paul would go into it. Marc started to scramble. Sergi didn't expect the ball. That's exactly where Paul put it, double bluffing him. 30-all. Big attack from Marc Bernils. Good change of direction from Paul, and that's too easy. Set point. Paul Alsina and Marc Manet. We saw Marc and Sergi defend plenty of set points yesterday. Can they do the same again? Just long on the serve. There seem to be a lot more accepting of tight calls today, Marc and Sergi, compared to last night. That's a beautiful shot. Marc Manet, he started the game poorly, and he finished it strong. Marc Manet, take the first set. And they'll be in buoyant mood into the second, looking to reverse the scoreline from yesterday. Last week, in Jakarta, where they lost in the final in 3 sets. Marc and Sergi lost the first set last night as well, and if they want to win this one and get a place in the final against Danny Brissell and Joaquin Lorenz, they will do it the long way as well. And with tired legs, 3 sets probably not what they're after. I think on screen just now, in between sets, we're showing you the knockout stages of the competition. We're in the semi-final second one at the moment, and the bottom of the draw, Sergi Nogueras and Marc Bernils against Paul Alsina and Marc Manet. You can see they won yesterday respectively against against Danny Hoyle, Alex Domenech, and Tim Brown and Andrea Melisi. Game of the tournament so far for sure, that one. And they are aiming for a place in the final against Danny Brissell and Joaquim Florenza, the Spanish #1 seeds, making their way successfully from the top of that draw. A tough first set against Gabo Loredo Almanza and Oliver Manson in this quarter-final, but a convincing second set. And then a much easier than anticipated semi-final today. They are next to me, watching this court, happy to see their potential opponents expending a lot of energy to reach the final. Second set underway. Use the side glass there from Sergi. Nicely read by Paul. Just relentless attack from Marc there. And it's working out well. He brings it back to 15-all. He couldn't really enforce that style of play on the final last week against Sergi and Marc, but he's doing so today, and it's paying dividends. $15.30, second service. $15.40, big clench fist from Marc Bernils. They want this. Always the competitors. 2 break points. Don't know if you're confused as we are there. Second serve. We thought the first serve was clearly in. No idea. Sergi defends anyway.
Attention all pro players. We've made some electrolytes drinks for you in the box office here by Supernatural.
And there's the break of serve. First game of the second set. And that's a great start for Sergi and Marc Bernils as they look to bring the match back level. Needing to win both sets to reach the semi-final, the final now in this men's pro semi-final. 15 love for Sergi Marc. Sergi Nogueras serving. Nicely defended. Marc Monet, not twice but 3 times. Ooh, and Sergi goes down the line there and then questions why he did that. It was a pretty tight angle he had to find there and he couldn't do so. Lob over the head of Sergi at 15-0. Lovely Vibra into the corner from Marc Monet. He comes to take this one. Getting that forehand going. He's across to take that once more, and Sergi just gets it back. How did he do that? Oh my goodness me! And he can't get it a third time. Unbelievable effort by Sergi Nogueras. Great play from Marc Monet. Relentless attack. Eventually wearing down the defences of his opponent and getting the better of him. .40-30 for Marc and Sergi. Paul really frustrated with himself, putting that simple forehand into a relatively simple forehand anyway into the net. Not really under a lot of pressure there. Very uncharacteristic mistake by him. He gets that one in, forcing Marc Bernils back. The angle's nice, and Sergi pops that into the gap. Paul kicking the ball into the back glass in frustration, knowing he made it all too easy for his opponent there. And that's the game. 2-love for Marc and Sergi. I can see the finalists awaiting. Joaquin and Danny looking very relaxed. Watching on as their opponents battle it out, their potential opponents battle it out, using lots and lots of energy. Nicely done by Marc Monet there. 30-love, they lead in the third game.
Diego, Trixie, Victoria, Ben, blue court.
.40-love for Marc Monet and Paul Alsina, looking to get themselves on the board in this one. And that's the game, 2-1. Marc Bernils and Sergi Nogueras lead with a break in the second set, looking to bring it back to 1 set all if they can. Marc and Sergi to serve next. 2-1 up. That one sails wide from Paul Alsina. 15 love. Nice patience. Good use of the side glass from Paul Alsina there. Oh, and Marc goes for the biggie. And it was in, I think. They just target Marc Monet's leg on the way through. I didn't see that. I saw the thumbs up from Sergi, so I wasn't sure. 30 love. Oh, and he gets that one wrong. Marc Bernils head in his hands moment. He didn't even miss that by a little bit. He missed that one by a lot. And he can't quite believe it. Sergi takes this one after the mistake from Marc on the previous one. But he'll take this one now. Calmly down the middle, nice and safe. Regain his confidence. Paul happy to test him 3 times in a row. A little bit faster at Marc Monet now, and over his head, just lands in. Nicely over Paul's head. Oh, and that just clips the neck cord and hits the glass first. Paul wasn't sure, Sergi confirmed it was out, to which he was thanked by Paul Alsina. 30-all. Marc Bernils, he fakes the smash. How did Marc Monet get that back? Double-handed backhand and out, little half volley. Marc's back to cover, he had to hurry. That's not a nice one with this midday sun. Sergi defends, but long, and it's 30-40, breakback point. Oh no, 40-30. We were confused by the scoring there. How many balls are on the roof of that? 2-0, 30-15. Sergi complaining once more at the surface, at the glass, at his shot. I'm not sure which, but at least one of them, maybe all three of them. Oh, it's a great angle from Marc Bernils. And that's nicely down the corner. Good backhand. And well done, Sergi, popping that one out. He says, I only got it here on my racket. Not out the sweet spot, but it was good enough. Sweet enough. 30-0. Continues to be a tight affair, this one. Sun just starting to come out here. It's only going to help dry the court more. It's going to drift wide. 40-30. Well rescued, Marc Bernils. And into the net. Sergi pumps his fist. As Marc Monet could not rescue that one on the spin. Juice one. No worries. Little pre-planned Chiquita attack by the look of it there. The chip in charge. Oh, nicely done by Marc Monet, reading the play from Bernils well. And no one had covered the middle. Superb defense, Sergi there. Oh, and it takes the net cord and comes back on his own side. As Marc looked to win the point. Juice two. Just out, signal by Sergi. It looked close as close can be. Remember, the calls was accepted. I think if Hawkeye was available, it would be getting called for on that one. Break point. Add out, and it would be golden point next if we get there. Just out on the serve. Second serve coming now. The line from Sergi. Down the middle, Marc Bernils. They're into the net, but it's well lifted by Paul Alcino on the backhand. Knowing his opponents would be coming, and that goes long. Marc Bernils can hardly believe it. And we're golden point. Beautiful from, oh, well rescued. It was a great shot from Sergi. Amazing rescue from Paul Alcina. Marc Bernils calm under pressure to get it back. Marc Monet increases the tempo with a Vibara. And it's too shallow in the corner. Sergi Nogueras not happy with the bounce in the back glass at all. Giving it 3, 4, 5 kicks in frustration. And Paul and Marc Monet hold serve 3-2. They lead, no breaks in the second set. love 15. Marc Bernils going for the high lob and striking the floodlights. Just long in the first serve from Sergi Nogueras. I think that was going out from Marc Bernils, and that one lands in, and Sergi and Marc leave it for each other. A wry smile from Paul. I think he knows they got away with that not once but twice. And love 30 on the serve of Sergi. One into the net from Marc Bernils. Love 40. 3 break points, 3 crucial break points in the second set. Well, Paul Alsina and Marc Monet already a set to the good. And a break would really put them in firmly in the driving seat. Marc Bernils calmly on that one, but too close to Paul. Didn't really put him under any pressure. Marc just looking a little casual there in attack. Sergi sends this one high. And it's long, and there's the break. And that could be the match. 4-2 for Paul Alsina and Marc Monet. Marc Monet to serve next, looking to make it 5-2. (6-3), 4-2. Paul into the feet of Sergi. Just in from Marc Monet, and the bounce of the ball too low for Sergi. Loads and loads of spin and pace on it. And that got the better of him. 15 love. And it was a good sneak to the net, but he couldn't control the volley from Sergi. 30 love. Marc and Sergi, they'll never give up, but it looks as though their energy level is just a little bit lower than they have been in previous games. 40 love now. 3 game points, and 5-2 looks inevitable for Marc Monet and Paul Alsina. Sergi Lorenz just taking a moment. Nice volley, Marc Monet again. Oh, and he got it back, Sergi, the no-look forehand was either in or out. I think they've called it in. He's gotten a bit lucky there. I thought it was out. When you're 40 love, you're a little kinder to give a point. Oh, beautiful. Marc Monet recovers well down the middle. And again. And that's too good for Paul Alsina there. Well played, Sergi Lorenz. 40-30. Game 5-2. They do clinch the game, Marc, and they move 1 game away from victory. Marc Bernils not a happy boy on the far side.
Diego Taira, Trixie Muller, Victoria Federova, Ben Pringle, Bluebird.
Ever the competitor, he's not enjoying losing. And they've got a big job on to turn this one around. It will be him to serve next when they return to the court. And a must-hold game followed by a must-break game. Back underway, 2-5. Beautiful angle cross. Paul recovers it well. He sends that high. And the footwork just a little static from Marc and Sergi. And the bounce of the ball in defence there, favouring Marc Monet and Paul Alsina. Love 15. Beautifully down the middle from Marc Monet. And we are just 2 points away from victory for the number 2 seed, Paul Alsina and Marc Monet. That's just long. Paul's still not happy. Can't forgive himself for any mistake in the entire match, regardless of the circumstance. And Marc Monet the same. 30-all. 2 lobs going long. Paul sends this one high. Serve landed just in. Bit more pace on that one from Marc Bernils. Well defended by Paul. Nicely down the line, and Marc Monet on the backhand volley into the net. (40-30), 2-5. Good get, Marc Monet. Marc Bernils lifts it over. Just lands in. Paul happy to send a high lob. Marc Bernils on the gaucho, sending it back towards Paul. That one takes the fence, and Paul Alsina sends that volley long. Game for Marc Bernils and Sergi Nogueras. But Paul Alsina and Marc Monet lead 5-3, and they will serve for the match now in a must-break game for the team on the near side. Paul Alsina to serve for what could be the final game of the match. That's all too easy for Marc Monet. Gently popping that one out by 4 over the back of the court. 15 love. Takes the net cord, just lands in. Marc sends it back high. Sergi, good defence there. Marc Monet across to take it into the corner. Players have swapped sides on the far side. Marc Bernils with a backhand. How did he get that back in? Superb defence. Sergi's to the net. Marc into the gap, lifts it, and it's long from Marc Bernils. 30 love. Great rally, great defence, but wasn't enough. 2 points from victory once more, this time on their own serve, and that's 1 point from victory. 40 love for Paul Alsina, Marc Monet. 3 match points for a place in the final. Bieber to the corner, and Marc Bernils decides enough is enough. They bow out with the semi-finals, but congratulations to Paul Alsina, Marc Monet, reaching the final for the 2nd week in a row. Hugs between the pair.
Congratulations, Paul Alsina, Marc Monet, for advancing to the final of the pro male category. Congratulations also.
We have ourselves a final later on today. Please do join us for Marc Monet and Paul Alsina against Danny Bracel and Joaquim Florenza.
Consolation semi-final, Greenberg, Joseph Serra, Ivan Lopez against Jaco and correction.